Back with closing trades right here in 80 now, and just take a look at what the closing trades are at, because given the weekly expiry, the chop and churn is happening. So we're pretty much down a good 1% actually from the highs of the day. What started off with a gain of roughly about 1% is now down 0.7% for the index. The Nifty futures now currently at 123 points lower, 17,789 is where we're currently at after skirting around the 18K mark in the opening session. The breadth as well is completely reversed hands. You've got a good 139 stocks which are standing to the declines as we speak. The key pressure points are some of the large cap boys today. So Bharti is down 3%. And again, this is all about buy on rumor, seller news kind of a story playing out for Bharti. Now down about 3%. ICICI Bank is down 2.5%. Big boys like Reliance down 2%. ITC, Tata Consumer, M&M. Even the entire, festive fervor trade, if you may want to call it that. So Titan, for instance, after a good run-up until yesterday, today it's down about 1.7% as we speak. And financials are the ones which are cracking hard. So HDFC Bank, Bajaj Finance, these are all stocks which are lower. But on the flip side, L&T, SBI, they're the ones which are doing somewhat of a balancing act. I shudder to think, had it not been for SBI and L&T, two large caps which have a high weightage on the index, what the state of the Nifty could have been today. But anyway, let's forget all of that and let's talk about what's happening in the movie business. Given that come Diwali, you've got the big Bollywood releases slated now. You've got Sooryavanshi, which is due for a 5th November release. And of course, another big release is in the pipeline. So let's try and analyze what the pre-bookings are looking like, whether or not this is going to be a blockbuster, given that it's coming after a gap of almost about 18 months. Let's chat about all of that. And we have with us Shibasish Sarkar, the chairman and CEO at IMAC. And we also have with us Karan from Elara Capital. Gentlemen, hi. Good to have you both on the show. Shibashish, firstly, wishing you a very happy Diwali, and I'd like to start the discussion with you.
Happy Diwali.
Right. Shibashish, just wanted to understand, what is the expectation from large-scale Hindi content or Indian film content, if I can call it that, if not Bollywood? Given that Sooryavanshi is the first mega starrer which is due for a theatre release come 5th of November, what can we expect in terms of collections? Because one still doesn't know, given that multiplexes in states like Maharashtra just about opened about 2 weeks back, we still don't know whether the cinema goers are going to throng back to cinemas in a hurry or not.
Yeah, I think so. You are absolutely correct. When we have been waiting for this film for last 19 months, and we have seen the world of uncertainty. But what has predominantly become clear in across different countries, be it China, be it Korea, be it North America, be it US, be it the smaller countries like Japan, every single market, when the fear of the disease has gone and the vaccination was decent, whenever there is a tentpole spectacle film has been launched, audiences are back to the cinemas. Now we are seeing last 4 or 5 months, even in the domestic market of US. So we are hopeful that audiences will be back into the theaters and probably back with an amount of vengeance. Even a month back, we were not that confident, but now closer to the ground, the amount of buzz what we are seeing, the amount of pre-sales what we are seeing, and the amount of advance, the trend what we are seeing. I don't want to sound arrogant, but there is a subtle confidence that these numbers will be good.
Right, closing trades, and we're still talking movies, or shall I say back to the movies now. Still in conversation with Shibasish Sarkar from IMAC as well as Karan from Elara Capital. Gentlemen, welcome back, and apologies for that long hiatus, but perils of live television had to cover SBI earnings. Karan, happy Diwali, first of all, from all of us here at ET Now. Before the break, Shibashish was talking about as to he's expecting big collections for Sooryavanshi. Given that, it's the first blockbuster movie after a long gap of almost about 2 years, what is it that you're expecting? This in addition to another Tamil movie as well, I believe, which is in the offing for a Diwali release.
Right. Happy Diwali to you as well. So clearly, it's going to be a big Diwali, for the exhibitions industry right now. There are two large films which are there for release. One is, of course, Sooryavanshi, and the other is Rajnikant starrer Annathe. And apparently, as per our expectations, the collections for Sooryavanshi would be in the range of 120 to 140 crores in terms of net box office number. And even Annathe would surpass that 120, 140 crore mark very easily, and it might even head towards the number of master what happened in the month of Jan 2021. Plus, apart from that, there's also another Hollywood release which is slated to release here, which is Eternal. So I think things are looking fairly good, for the exhibitors right now. What has happened is that every week, every 15 days, we are seeing relaxations in many of the states, which is a very important factor to drive box office. We are seeing relaxations in the form of occupancy. Many states have moved to 100% occupancy from earlier cap of 50%. We are also seeing relaxations in terms of timing, night curfew, everything put together. So I think these are very important factors to drive box office. And week by week, I think collections will definitely improve and even reach pre-COVID levels soon.
Shibashish, have to ask you, content is king. What is the movie pipeline looking like? After Sooryavanshi, what next?
So I think from an industry perspective, if you look at it, just after Maharashtra government announced the opening of theatres, there is close to 25 to 30 films that got announced. So if you look from an industry perspective, this month is already busy. We have Banti Babli coming on 19th. Then we have Satyameva Jayate as well as Antim coming on 26th. Every month, in the month of December, we have 83, we have Tadap, we have Spider-Man coming out week before, we have Pushpa. So between now to next 6 months, probably the movies will scramble with each other for the placement, and it's a great time. I think the industry will be back if the current situation, the way the country is behaving in terms of the overall vaccination and overall the corona is also in an amount of control. I am pretty sure that the industry will be back to the pre-COVID situation very soon.
Karan, good afternoon. This is Nayantara. I was wondering, has there been any data that's been released as yet on how the movie halls and the multiplexes are doing since the reopening? And have you been to the cinemas yet?
Yeah, so I have ventured out to cinema once. I think I'd gone that time in the month of Jan to catch up on some Hollywood films. Apparently, if you look at the occupancy numbers, they're still very low and very dismal. So pre-COVID, I think PVR Inox were running at occupancy numbers of close to about 30 to 35% on an annual average basis. I think when we started off cinemas last year during Diwali, the occupancy numbers were close to 3 to 4%. Then came the month of Jan, Feb, March, wherein we saw a lot of Hindi films coming. We saw regional films also coming, but regional films did much better as compared to Hindi, because Hindi there was no new large content. It was all basically small and medium budget films that were coming. Occupancy numbers had reached about 8-9% at that time, so they were still 70% lower as compared to pre-COVID. So I think situation that time was very different. One was, of course, large scale content was not coming. There was this entire fear around the COVID wave 2, which actually happened after April, and then we went through a lockdown. But I think current situation versus last situation, I think we are better off right now because vaccination is there as a solution, and vaccination drive, has been very strong. The number of people in the reach put together. We did point out a report as well in the month of July, August that clearly the multiplex audience which is there is an upper middle class, and I think they will have this double vaccination dose towards November, December. So I think these 2 months and Jan, Feb, March quarter is going to be phenomenally strong, for the multiplexes. Also, one more point to highlight here is the backlog of releases. So if you look at the industry, I think Hindi films, we release almost about 250-300 Hindi films every year. So 18 months has not seen of more than 20-25 films going to cinemas in terms of Hindi content. So I think there's a huge backlog of content. There have been films which have gone to OTT, but again, not more than 25 to 35 films have gone direct OTT route. So because of this backlog, I think what you'll see is that you'll see consecutive, large film releases on a weekly basis, as compared to pre-COVID days, wherein you had only one large film every month.
Okay, so you're saying that there was not enough content to get the kind of occupancy, at least from the Hindi perspective. Shibasish, I want to just understand from you as well. For almost 2 years, we haven't had a big movie release, right? And Sooryavanshi is going to perhaps change that. Are we now seeing negotiations at least happen between multiplexes and the distributors as well as the producers?
It's nothing new. I mean, see, honestly, in the pre-COVID situations, 2019, if we look at it, 2019-20, if Sooryavanshi would have released at that point of time, probably would have done a 300 crore box office number. Our confidence or our grassroots level information what we are getting. I don't know where finally the number will end up with, but it is definitely a 200 CR plus number as it looks now. So nothing changed in the industry. We'll find new negotiations between the theaters and the exhibitors and the producers. Everybody will are correct from their point of view. So those are natural, and that will happen. And it is all good for the industry. People will be back, and that's the buzz, that's the confidence we are seeing. It happens also. We need to understand that audiences also come back to the cinema halls after a hiatus of almost 18-20 months when they see a big, large spectacle, tentpole kind of film. You won't be able to pull the audiences back for the mid budget or not so. With not so palatable content from that point of view. But whenever there is a big content, it has happened 1 year back when Masters came from one language, they made a 200 crore box office. I won't be surprised that the films which are coming now will cater to that kind of a number. And I won't be surprised that the usual negotiations, usual trade practices, which are part and parcel of the business, which will happen, and ultimately it will all settle down, and films will release in correct time, in the correct way.
Shibasish, Karan, great to have you both on the show. I wish we could elongate the discussion, but SBI took too much time. But great to have you both today on ET Now, and here's wishing you a happy Diwali from all of us once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a very quick commercial break. Haven't taken one in a while, with news that the markets have completely reversed all of their morning gains, went around 74 points on weekly expiry day. And the breadth of the market as well is weighing heavy in favor of the declines. When we come back, the last lap of today's trading session.